We are not Sports Center. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Debate Amongst Friends. I am the Professor John Gotti. My co-host over here is Doc Leesner, the podcasting beast, and we're ready to provide you with another fun edition of sports news, analysis, and the reads.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That's right, welcome back to the doc. After taking a week off and Prof running solo, I am back for Debate Amongst Friends right here with the Professor John Gotti. Johnny, how you doing there, boyo?
I'm doing pretty good. You have gifted our listeners with the gift of Doc. Drink it in, boyo.
That's right. And first, I guess we start off with a little light note here, a little fantasy football.
A little bit of housekeeping. Yeah,
a little bit of housekeeping. I'm actually participating in my yearly work fantasy football league. I've actually been playing Yahoo Sports since 2011, 9 years, brother.
That's actually really, really commendable.
58% win percentage at 63 and 45. 8 teams, 3 trophies, no wins. I'm looking like a certain coach that I always get on, a little Jeff Fisher-ish here. I can't even lie. Even though I make it to the playoffs, I cannot get the W. It's actually pretty sad, but gotta win this week. 294 to 219. 294 is not going to cut it, so I definitely got to make some changes. I actually let them auto draft for me as I was out in New Jersey, but once I came back and saw what team I had, I went ahead and immediately went to the waiver wires, changed some players. So I was able to pick up Adrian Peterson, and I think I picked up one other player, but with so many injuries, bro.
It's a lot
so many injuries. I mean, once I launched this application, the Yahoo Sports application on my phone, I saw that Miles Sanders is out for game 1. I was like, oh my God. And then game 1, even though thank God I didn't start him, which I don't know who started him, but Duke Johnson scratched in the first quarter. So I let him go with the quickness. And just had to change some things up. They had drafted me Tampa's old kicker. I had to get their new kicker, and then I had to make some other adjustments. But fantasy football is back. Kyler Murray is the starting quarterback. Juju Smith-Schuster. I got Terry McLaurin, Christian McCaffrey, Malcolm Brown, who really played good for the Rams yesterday.
He played very good for the Rams.
Hayden Hurst, tight end from Atlanta, who I expect to step it up, but I might have to drop him. Aaron Jones, running back from the Packers, I expect him to always do well.
Yep.
Keenan Allen, who just got the big extension, I expect him to do well. The aforementioned Miles Sanders, rookie Joe Burrow, who I started, which I should have started Kyler Murray.
No.
I did pick up Adrian. I'm going to keep running forever. Peterson, Mike Williams from the Chargers, and then the newest waiver wire additions, Scotty Miller, which is going to be the new Julian Edelman of the Bucks, and Peyton Barber for the Redskins, who ran like he should have been running in Tampa all these years.
That's hilarious.
Pittsburgh and Tampa defense, and then a host of linebackers and safeties there. Buda Baker. I always go with Buda Baker.
Yeah.
I feel like he never lets me down. But yeah, the injuries, man. The injuries are piling up. I think you said yesterday off the stream that it is because there was no preseason, and I was so disappointed.
No preseason, man.
I was so disappointed in Le'Veon Bell, his injury, because I had him on my DraftKings roster. And when I saw that he went down, I was like, yeah, the Jets, they just can't get right. And I think this marriage between them and Le'Veon is going to come to an end.
It's going to come to an end probably about the trade deadline.
I mean, if he's on injury reserve, I don't know if they can trade him while he's on.
Well, they might waive him.
That
That's
would be
that's a huge contract though. They still got to pay off at least end of this season and probably some of next season.
yeah, that is pretty insane there, boy. That's pretty insane there.
Yeah, I see what you did there. But I had a chance to look at some of the high scores for certain positions for fantasy because that's what I do. I like to do that so I can help out Doc as well. The Panthers kicker actually did really well despite the loss. They may actually be a team this year. So it's really bad to say this because there's really no terrible teams in the NFL.
Right.
Except for the Jets.
Right.
But the lower 500 teams that we predicted before the season started are probably going to be the highest for points for kickers. So something to think about. Yeah, I mean, because normally, you know me, man. If I do fantasy, I'm usually picking my boy from the Ravens as my kicker.
I figured that.
Yes.
Well, it depends because,
but it's really bad for him to pick him because the team scores a lot of touchdowns.
But it's fine though because those extra points count. I mean, I was actually pretty surprised that Steven Gostkowski 4 misses. Yikes. And that would have definitely been a kicker that I know a lot of people had high.
Would have picked up, yep.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, I picked Ryan Suckup because, Tampa historically doesn't score a lot of points, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry, folks. We'll get to that.
The kickers usually are the MVPs, but that's unacceptable. What else you got?
There was a lot of big surprises. You already mentioned your boy from Tampa Bay. Jacobs from the Las Vegas Raiders might actually be a huge point getter for fantasy this year. For those that haven't really picked him up.
Josh Jacobs?
Yep.
Oh, no. He was gone in the first round, I'm pretty sure. He's a first round.
Yeah. I believe according to ESPN and NFL Fantasy, because I checked both of them. I didn't check Yahoo, but I probably should have done that. The first round, I believe they said like 95% of the first picks in the first round were all running backs. So I'm pretty sure that he was taken away.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm sure. Christian McCaffrey was 99% the first pick of the draft.
Oh, yeah.
And that 1% probably picked, I don't know.
It could be anybody. I mean, it could be Alvin Kamara.
It could have been. I don't even know if Alvin Kamara is going to be that high of a point getter for the year, though. I don't know if he's going to be as high.
I think he will. I think we'll get into that game, but it could also have been Saquon. I know Saquon was
Saquon. Yeah, I think it was Saquon was number 2. But I mean, I'm excited to find out more about fantasy as the season comes along. Of course, Doc is going to give us the play-by-play of his fantasy league, and if I have any stats for it, I'll make sure to say that for everyone out there as well too, because we want to make sure that you get the fantasy news and stats that are required for you to make the right decision to come for the next week. But we shall see. But Doc, I mean, you was talking about a lot of these injuries, and I had a chance to check out Pro Football Reference, and a lot of the injuries on that list are all on IR, and it's kind of ridiculous. Of course, this was as of this morning. So the number of players that actually hit IR actually grew more. But we were mentioning there's 3 players for the Cowboys that are in injury reserve. David Njoku for the Browns is on injury reserve as well too.
And that stinks because he was trying to get out of there.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of there. Marlon Mack was in IR as well too. I believe it was a torn Achilles actually was the issue. There's a lot of people. I'm just looking through how many other people are actually on this list. Like, this is a lot to go through, folks. But if you really want to see the full list, check out NFL.com/injuries to get all the news there as well. But we're going to talk about just some of them, just because there's just way too many for us to go through and try to break down. Geronimo Allison, who formerly was with the Packers, but now is with the Lions.
Also a EFL Panthers.
He was. Yes, he was. I wasn't going to go there, but I figured you was going to say that out there.
I did.
Speaking of, yeah, dang, there's a lot of people though, sir. I mean, anyone like really caught your eye? I mean, I'm seeing Alan Hearns is on injury reserve. I'm seeing
I think the only person that caught me, and I don't know,
Patrick Chung is on injury reserve.
Is the Cowboys losing Van Der Esch?
Van Der Esch is on injury reserve. That happened a little bit before we actually started recording, actually.
Yeah, so that was pretty tough for them, and they lost, I believe, an offensive lineman as well. When I was
I want to say the right guard.
Yeah, I think also one that was pretty sad, and then we could probably move on. But the one that was pretty sad was James Conner. I think him getting hurt in the first half of the game. They said he's probably going to be okay with the ankle, but it just stinks because he missed so many games last season.
He did. He really did.
And it's just a matter of time. It's only so many injuries you can put up with some of these players. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So hopefully he's able to come back from that. But yeah, I definitely think people should, if you're into fantasy football or your team is struggling with injuries, it's best to know what you're dealing with. I'm happy to say that I didn't see anything from Tampa on the injury report.
Deebo Samuel was also on injury reserve as well too.
But Deebo, he's been on.
He's been on it before the season started, though.
Yeah,
it happened during training camp.
Exactly, broken foot or something.
Something like that.
But let's take a quick break and let's come back with some more week one. Let's talk about some week one football when we come back.
Let's do it.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Week one action. There it is. No preseason. We're jumping right into it with the kickoff game. Chiefs versus Texans, where we had a controversial booing.
We gonna talk about this? Wait a minute.
Talk about that. I just want to throw you off a little bit. I didn't want to, because I'm not 100% sure. I heard booing. I heard something.
It was something happening.
I mean, it wasn't enough people there. Like, it sounded like there might have been like one section of booing, but they engulfed the entire Chiefs crowd.
I'll tell you one thing though, there, Boyle. They did not say Boo Earns.
They did not. Nor was there any Boo Radleys.
I saw what you did there. How actually really going?
Nothing but Boo Birds out there. But I don't know what to really think of it. I mean, I didn't really understand. I think J.J. Watt said it the best. Like, this time there was no flag. There's no confusion about it. It was like, hey, here we are coming together.
Well, the problem is it was never about the flag.
It was never about the flag.
And we've said that 2 seasons ago, actually. We both said it was never about the flag.
And it's so sad that we've come here, because now during that next day, that Friday, we're not talking about, the Chiefs rolling on the
rolling on the river.
Rolling on the We're not talking about that. We're talking about people booing during the anthem, and it's sad because the game was pretty entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
Half, I would say. Deshaun Watson still running for his life out there. I'm kind of wishing that they would take care of that somehow.
I mean, they did pretty much trade away the whole team for a pack of Skittles and half a bag of M&Ms.
Well, David Johnson, he was bursting with flavor out there.
I saw what you did there. That was pretty good.
The first quarter, I mean, he looked really, really strong. He looked like he was willing to prove the doubters wrong, worthy of a mid-tier pick, in the fantasy. Will Fuller, if he could stay healthy, could serve as a great number one receiver. They just need their second receivers, I guess, to step up. But ultimately, the offensive line, which they did trade last year with the Seahawks for an offensive lineman when they traded what's his name?
It's
Jadeveon
okay.
Clowney.
That's what it was, Jadeveon Clowney, who actually
They
had an
traded,
incredible first game as well, but we'll talk about that.
yeah. So they traded him last year to the Seahawks for the offensive tackle, which didn't help because he was getting beat so bad. I
Bad.
mean, over and over and over. I don't know what he was doing, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't help. Nothing that they did help. And I mean, this guy's just running for his life. I mean, I don't know what Deshaun has to do. Like, they're going to have to switch their offense to something that resembles what New England did or what Tom Brady's used to, which is getting the ball out quick.
Yeah. Fast
But
routes,
right,
but I mean, I don't know if the playmakers on the Texans have the skills to be able to, get
well,
better yak.
but they do. I mean, look what they have. They have Will Fuller. You're talking about Randall Cobb, who can still go. You got Brandon Cooks.
Brandon
So
Cooks.
they
They
have the pieces.
they have it,
Just
but it's not showing them. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be time to switch the old head coach. I'm just gonna put it out there. It might be time because
he's not going to fire himself,
um,
unfortunately.
he's not gonna fire himself, but it might be time to let him go. But let's talk about the Chiefs really quickly.
Absolutely.
They have what's looking like a steal with the 31st pick in the draft, and CEH.
Yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you picked him in fantasy, you're pretty happy. 25 carries, 138.
And if you didn't, don't expect him to be there for long.
Oh, no, he's gone. He is gone. And like I said, I mean, and I told somebody this earlier. I said, fantasy football isn't won in the draft. It's won on the waiver wire.
Yep.
And if you're not willing to commit to the waiver wire, then you're not willing to commit to the championship.
I agree.
That's just how it goes. But he was the star here. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, was pretty efficient. 211 yards, 3 touchdowns on 24 for 32 passing. He spread the ball around, pretty evenly. Nobody was really standing out outside of Edwards-Helaire. But the Chiefs just look like they're ready for a run back.
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready to run it back.
Let's run it back. Yeah, let's run it back. But I wanted to stick on the topic of the Texans by going to the Cardinals versus the 49ers game.
Okay.
In which we had DeAndre Hopkins, obviously traded for the Skittles.
Mm-hmm.
14 receptions for 151 yards. And the aforementioned player that I benched, which was pretty dumb on my part, I just thought, for some reason, I thought Joe Burrows was going to go off on his first game. I thought he was going to go off. I was wrong.
No, I would have told you that too.
Didn't know Kyler Murray was going to throw 40 times and run 30. You know what I mean? I wouldn't expect it, but I also didn't really remember the Skittles trade.
Yes. Well, that and plus it's still a NFC West matchup, and they've always played so tough against. Like, we rarely see blowout victories in the NFC West. So I would have definitely said at least have Kyler Murray start because he is at least going to score some points for you.
And looking at it, I mean, looking at this game really quickly, you don't really think that, the 49ers are going to be as dangerous right now. Obviously, George Kittle just got a little banged up. And obviously, we mentioned that they don't have Deebo Samuel. They let some people go in free agency.
Absolutely.
So right now, they're just scrambling to kind of put people on the field. But this could be that time that the Cardinals kind of take over.
I mean, if not them, it could be another team that we'll probably cover in this section. But Kyler Murray looked really great. I think he's trying to not show he has a sophomore slump, which, of course, a lot of quarterbacks have that issue.
True.
You mentioned he threw 40 times, completed 26 with 230 TD and 1 pick. But, I mean, he still helped the team stay in the game, and they managed to pull off the air quotes upset on week 1.
True. True. And I mean, speaking of sophomore slumps, I mean, and I just mentioned him. We'll just stick with people that we're mentioning. Joe Burrows, the Bengals taking on the Chargers. It would have been great if it was rookie versus rookie, but the Chargers, which I'm not going to say San Diego, I'm not going to say Los Angeles, I'm just going to say Chargers.
It's LA Chargers. Go Chargers, go.
I'm just going to say Chargers versus Bengals. Tyrod Taylor getting the start for his 90th team.
It's ridiculous. I feel
ridiculous,
really bad about Tyrod, though.
You know, he has the skills. It's just
he keeps getting put in these bad situations where
it's terrible.
He gets put into situations where he is put there to fail.
And I feel like he's eventually going to win, but it's like win because it's like he's already 31 years old.
Yep.
And it's like he's been bounced around and people give him chances. Like I think Tyrod is a serviceable starter, but the question is he going to get you to the
next
mountaintop? You know what I mean? Obviously, Austin Eckler. Wow, I said Eclair. I'm thinking about Eclairs. I could really go for one.
Actually, I could go for one too. Wait, really quickly, little Debbie. I know you don't sponsor us, but we love.
Yeah, I would love a Little Debbie sponsorship. I hate that I would love it, but I would. So Austin Eckler, 19 carries, 84 yards. Obviously, Tyrod spreading the ball around. He's not locking in on anyone.
Nope.
He's throwing it to whoever's over. Joe Burrow, 23 for 36, 193, one pick. The newly re-signed Joe Mixon, 19 carries, 69 yards. Definitely need him to do better. Joe Burrow's first touchdown.
Him and Giovanni Bernard, who's been there for the longest.
Yeah, but I think he's beyond his prime and beyond. Like, honestly, if we're gonna point the finger at anybody, I need John Ross to really step it up at this point. And if you're gonna hold AJ Green, if you're gonna hold AJ Green, if you're gonna hold AJ Green hostage, you might as well get him. He's going to have to have more than 5 catches.
I definitely agree with you there. I definitely agree.
Yeah. But let's just keep this ball rolling.
Also, big shout outs to the Cardinals defense as well.
Oh, without question. Without question, that boil. Let's go on to the Patriots and the Dolphins. Cam Newton, obviously on a new team, a lot of memes out there. Oh, from Carolina, like, hey, I'm sorry, I have a new job, I can't come back.
Yeah.
A lot of Carolina, they have certain riddies out there, certain marks, just laying it to Panther fans all day long. I mean, this win by the Patriots was so overshadowed by the other games.
Yes.
And they really put together a really, really good game plan against Ryan Fitzpatrick and for Cam Newton. 15 for 19?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Cam's seen those numbers. Oh, my God.
Since his MVP season, 2015.
Yeah, 15 for 19. 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he obviously spread the ball around, Julian Edelman, but, multiple people ran the ball. I mean, this was efficient. I figured
Patriots-style football.
Yeah, this is Josh McDaniels in his bag. I mean, obviously he got there late.
Of course.
I expected a lot of games to be very vanilla. You're not going to get the whole package. I'd say they probably know about 50 plays tops, and that's 100 if you count left and right. I'm not expecting, anything big.
No.
But I do know that it might be time for the Dolphins just to say, we're going to give Ryan Fitzpatrick one more game, but it might just be time for Tua just to get in there. If he's healthy.
I was going to say, if he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
Well, I mean, this is kind of what we expected to happen for this season. Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to start until either he completely craps the bed or Tua's healthy enough to be able to get those reins.
Oh God, not the reins.
But Tua's going to be playing this season. It's just a matter of when. It's never a matter of if.
It's a matter of when. So let's just keep that ball rolling because I know time is ticking and it's never on our side. How about them Cowboys? Talking about reins. You got a guy in Dak Prescott trying to get an extension, playing on a franchise tag. 25 and 39, 266, 1 touchdown. Ezekiel. 22 carries for 96 yards, 1
Pathetic.
touchdown. I like what I saw out of CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, Amari Cooper caught 10 passes. CeeDee Lamb looked really explosive. But the Rams and Malcolm Brown, who I have on my fantasy team,
Good job.
Malcolm Brown, they were running wild. I mean, it looked like Hogan out there in the 90s and 80s and 90s. They were just running wild all over the Cowboys.
And immediately after the game, actually during the game, I was checking out Twitter as I was watching this game, and I'm hearing these Cowboys fans just saying, well, we have all these injuries, and, it's only the first game. No, the season's happening now, buddy.
All right. So I would be first to admit, like a lot of people were taking the week 1 losses too far. Like it is week 1.
Are we going to talk about that team?
Yeah. Let's relax. Let's hold on. It's week 1 for all teams.
Yes.
I'm not drinking any Kool-Aid whatsoever on anything. And I've mentioned to you that I'm not spiking the ball on anything. Not in basketball, football, WNBA, hockey, EFL, 2K. I'm not spiking any balls whatsoever. I think that it's time to just sit back and just say, okay, week 1 happened.
Exactly. Just like you said, it's way too soon. Like it's not time to push the panic button. Like when Dr. Prof knows when it's time to hit the panic button, we hit that button. But it's way too soon.
Yeah, we start hitting the panic button around week 6, 7?
No, like week 4. It'd be like if we see a team that's really, really bad, we hit that thing as soon as possible.
And I think we have segments for that, so get ready for that panic meter to be on fleek, I guess. And I think one of the games in which we can get to it, let's rip the Band-Aid off. The last highlighted game we're going to go over, the Bucks versus the Saints, which typically
this was exactly the type of game that Doc expected. Actually,
it is because like don't get me wrong, I like Tom
because this was the game, folks, that people were way overreacting.
Well, here's the thing. The part that I didn't like is that I felt like people were acting as if the Saints were doo-doo. Like,
which is disrespectful to, which is completely disrespectful to the Saints, like, period.
Now, granted, don't get me wrong. This game was really, really good.
Yes, it was.
Like this was a really, really defensive game. Like, I'm looking at it. Who would have thought that this young, hungry Bucks defense would keep Drew Brees under 160 yards?
Yep.
Alvin Kamara, 12 carries for 16 yards. Freaking Michael Thomas, 3 catches for 17 yards. Who would have said that the Saints would beat the Bucks 34-23 with those numbers? Well, when you have Tom Brady throwing an interception and a pick 6, I mean that hurts.
Yep.
When you kick the ball off and then you don't recover it, which was kind of ridiculous when I watched it back. We gave up a muffed kickoff, which rarely ever happens. And it's just some pretty poor defensive plays, some mental errors, jumping offsides. I mean, it was a poor effort on everybody. Of course, Tom gets the blame, and I'm sure, as of today, Tom Brady needs to retire, and he's too old to be doing this. He's a system quarterback, and this, that, and the third.
I mean, the memes started to get towards like that hurtful territory. I'm like, I don't even think I want to share any of them to the group actually, because like this is just people just being mean now.
And the thing that stung is that it's like there were a lot of drop passes.
That is
I mean,
true.
there was the first interception that Tom threw. There was some miscommunication between him and Mike Evans. The second interception, it looked, and a lot of people just started saying it looked like Jameis Winston out there. That's what a lot of people were saying. I think honestly, if this offense doesn't work under Bruce Arians, then this might be one of those things where, hey, you might need to take a look in the mirror and say, my offense is just too complicated to win it all. You know what I mean? Like, because from what I hear, each route combination has like 2 or 3 different things that could happen.
Yep.
And a quarterback already has to think about so many things. You got the offensive line doing an okay job, not great, as Donovan Smith looked kind of rough out there.
Yep.
I was happy with our first round pick, Tristan Wirfs. I think he did a pretty good job. But it's week 1. Let's hold on Brady's done. Let's hold on the Bucks overrated.
Ridiculous.
Let's hold on and let's see what happens. I'm gonna say let's see what happens in week 17.
Well, I think let's see what happens around like week 5, week 6. Like,
for me, it's 17 because you just never know. Like you really never know. Anything could happen.
Well, and I say around week 5, week 6 because that's when you really start to create those dynamics on the offensive end. I think defensive wise, I agree with you. They did play a really, really good game. Minus a couple of brain farts that happened. Definitely on the Alvin Kamara catch for a TD. That it just looked bad. Like it just looked really, really bad. But yeah, I think people were just taking this way too far and acting like this is something bigger than it needed to be.
Yeah, there was a few mental errors, some depth issues as far as like the defensive backs. Like I said, and I said this last year and the year before that, and probably the year before that. If you don't watch the games, you're just going off of the highlights. You'll never really know.
You're never gonna know what's gonna happen. Exactly.
Yeah, because you would just be able to show whatever the media is going to show whatever they want to show you. And to me, this was a pretty good game with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I just feel like the game got away from the media because they.
I agree. I mean, and of course, this is the NFC South, so the Buccaneers going to be able to get that run back soon. So.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean, so everyone remember was that what you said week 1, and we'll see what happens on the next time.
Exactly. Well, let's take a quick break and let's come back and let's talk about some of this NBA playoff updates. Let's do some playoff updates.
Then we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Doc, we left the gridiron. Let's hit the hardwood. We have breaking news. The National Basketball Association has just announced their first team and second team all rookie teams. Doc, I'm going to read it out right now.
Right now.
In the first team, we have Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies, Kendrick Nunn of the Miami Heat, Brandon Clark of the Memphis Grizzlies, Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans, Eric Paschall of the Golden State Warriors. In the second team, we have Tyler Hero of the Miami Heat, Terrence David II from the Toronto Raptors, Kobe White from the Chicago Bulls, PJ Washington of the Charlotte Hornets, and rounding out, Ryu Hachimura from the Washington Wizards.
I'm surprised that RJ Barrett didn't get more votes.
No, he wasn't get any more votes.
As well as Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. probably should have gotten some votes, but I think so. Here's the problem. I feel like the voters were so enamored by one player on the first team that they obviously forgotten about Michael Porter Jr.
Probably what John Moran. I mean, 100 first place points. They didn't say forget that. They ain't even looking at second team. At least two people believe that Zion should be on the second team.
Which, if we're going to be honest, I think he should have been on the second team, but I understand it's for the clicks. I mean, I get it. I mean, obviously, tomorrow on Sports Show, they're going to be like, so did you really think that, Zion should have had more votes than John Morant for the NBA All-Rookie First Team?
That's a good impression of that lady. I can't think of her name.
I was trying to think of a good analogy to use that person's first name, but I felt like we all know who that is.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is a pretty good list. I mean, I get it. Zion is Zion. I mean, again, 20, 25 games, something like that, 24 games. That's what they're going.
Yeah, 24 games.
So that's what they're giving him. Obviously, Tyler Hero really, really had a solid year, but he didn't even have a chance.
No.
Pascal and Tyler Hero would have probably went hand in hand.
Tyler Hero's a guard, though. And it's weird. They have 3 guards on the second team, and then 3. It's weird.
I don't think this is I think this is just a rookie team. It's based on votes. It's not based on, which they probably should have did it based on the actual positions. But I think that we're so beyond that, I guess, at this point.
Oh, the center position is dead. We already talked about that.
Yeah. So they just went based on the points. But, I'm okay with the list. I would have expected, again, RJ, 13 points, and he's in the second team. Everybody else, I don't even know, I guess. But this is exciting. At least the rookies are getting acknowledged for something. Obviously, we still have the playoffs going on, so I like the way that they're.
Well, unfortunately, the media kind of is forced to acknowledge the other rookies because Zion only played 24 games.
So based on this, I guess we can assume that John Morant is going to win the Rookie of the Year.
He already won the Rookie of the Year.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember us talking about that.
No. We talked about that. We actually talked about that. Because we was talking about how Zion only had one first place vote.
Gotcha.
And we were like, who the heck would give him a first place vote? What blasphemy? What balderdash is that?
I know exactly who gave him a first place vote, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But let's talk about these playoffs, man. Obviously, a series came to an end. 2 series came to an end since I last was on. Is that correct?
Yes.
So the Celtics ended the Raptors, and the Lakers ended the Rockets.
Yes. Also, the Heat ended the Bucks as well.
Okay, that's how far we are. Okay, so obviously,
because last show it was we was heading towards that game 5.
Obviously, the writing's on the wall here. Oh my God, Giannis deleted all of his teammates from his social media account. Oh my God, the Raptors. They got destroyed 4-3. Oh my God,
Clickbait.
4-3.
Didn't I not say that series was going to go 7, by the way?
You did.
Thank you.
And I expected my Rockets to fall to the Lakers. After the first game, I was like, oh, maybe they have a little swag or a little
yeah, you started to get a little bit hyped, but then after game 2, we both said that the Lakers going to win that one, and they won it pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, actually. It's pretty sad. And obviously the Nuggets, I'm seeing all kinds of Jokic memes. I'm getting a lot of Black and Mild and cigarette in the ear memes.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty hilarious. But he's playing some good basketball.
They have been the Cinderella team of this postseason. They have been playing absolutely incredible and inspired basketball. We're talking about the Nuggets.
Is it inspired or is it, hey, their backs are officially against the wall, and now they have no choice.
I mean, I don't know if their backs were against the wall, but at least for that Jazz series, the writing was on the wall.
It was, but even in the Jazz series, they were down 3-1. That's why I said maybe they just thrive on 3-1.
I mean, you probably don't want to. I mean, we talked about this a lot about teams who, thrive on being the comeback kids. Like, eventually, your luck will run out. And it's just like I was telling you off the podcast. I think the real problem is just the Clippers. When they want to play, no one's beating them.
Yeah.
But when they go into this ISO heavy ball and Ole defense, I mean, now you see why it's, 3-3. The last game's a different story, obviously. The Nuggets just came out and was swinging and, led to them getting a pretty good victory over the Clippers. And, of course, now the memes are now coming out. People are talking about the Clippers being overrated and all this other stuff, but they were the same people that was saying, oh, well, the Clippers are going to win the championship and Kawhi rules LA. So we are,
I remember that.
I mean, Doc, you heard me use this phrase before, but we as sports watchers are so fickle that we move with the fads way too fast. And it's ridiculous.
And the interesting thing about the Clippers is that, Kawhi and Paul George both signed this kind of contract that allows them really to opt out next year if this just doesn't work. So, I mean, the Clippers ultimately could be in a little pickle here. But somebody else did mention something that I guess we would have to mention here on the show. When do we point the finger at Doc Rivers?
This series, actually.
Do you think this is the one? I mean, he has everything he needs.
I don't think this series will get him fired, but this series will open up a lot of more people's eyes. Yeah, those that are of the right basketball minds. Mm-hmm. I need to caveat that. We don't want people to be like, well, he shouldn't just not been there anymore. Like, true. No. But I will say this. Kawhi, other than the 2 games where he kind of struggled, he's been consistent throughout this whole series. The whole PG thing, whatever. Yeah. It's kind of dumb.
Playoff
Yeah.
P, you mean?
He scored 33 points in the loss for Game 6, so he's obviously still playing. Like I said, it's really just them defensively has been hurting them. Them doing stuff defensively, defensively lacking, as well as them playing too much ISO ball. Like,
I mean, but when you look at it though, like honestly though, I mean, you got what? You got Zubac, you got Montrezl Harrell. These guys can't play against Jokic.
Well, and that's what we said at the start of this series. Like, Jokic should be eating. Like,
no. Well, Jokic has been eating, I believe. But, I mean, looking at it now, I mean, I like Zubac. Don't get me wrong. Even though I just traded him in 2K, that has nothing to do with this right now.
No, it had everything to do with that.
But there's no way he can play against Jokic. He has too many moves. And, I mean, looking at the scoring breakdown, it just seems like they just need some help. I could see them making a little splash to kind of move on from certain role players.
I mean, remember when you saying that they needed to play Bobo?
They needed to freaking play Bobo.
But they haven't.
They still haven't. But somehow it's worked for them.
And you know why? One key factor, which was a wild card, Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr.
He's been work. He said, "Give me the ball," and they said, "Big man, take us home."
but also, I mean, it just made it it makes it better because the Nuggets took such a chance on him. Obviously, he had the injury in college.
Yep.
He could have free fell to the second round, but the Nuggets said, you know what, we're going to take a chance on this
We're going
guy.
to statch him up.
We believe in the hype and we believe in his potential, and it's paying off for him. So hats off to him.
Well, I think he's in the same draft class as Ben Simmons.
I want to say yes.
We'll ask Chris to give us a.
Yeah, we could definitely get that confirmed. But while we're confirming that, who you got? Let's see who you got.
Game 7. I'm going to stick with the Clippers. I think they're going to try and succeed in locking it down finally. Like they'll finally go, okay, you know what? We're really going to be that team finally.
So Chris just pinged me here. This is actually the draft class with DeAndre Ayton going number 1.
That's right. It was DeAndre Ayton. That's right.
Yeah, this is a pretty stacked class. I mean, you can't even be mad at this class. I do know that the Atlanta Hawks are probably mad that they traded Luka Doncic, even though Trae Young's great. I mean, they're probably mad about that. But I'm actually going to go with the Nuggets. I feel like they're riding high. They just know how to do it. I think they're tired of falling short, like the team we're going to talk about next. And I think they're going to get it done.
I mean, let's talk about
unless the refs want it to be LA versus LA, and we're going
and that's why I'm going with that. That's exactly why I went with that.
Because I don't want to see that. I actually want to see an underdog, which the Nuggets by far is no underdog, but in these series they've been underdogs. I want to see them go against the big bad booty Lakers and go from there. But
let me tell you why I don't want that to happen. It's going to turn into the Kings versus the Lakers.
I don't think so. We're beyond that.
We're gonna say that 2 weeks later. I'm like, remember what I said about the Kings versus the Lakers?
I remember you said that. This is September 15th.
Doctor be like, you didn't say anything like that. I don't remember that. Yeah, like, check the tapes. We don't check the tapes.
Yeah. But let's talk about these Rockets. Obviously, unable to get it done. Which I mentioned, some people tried to troll me a little bit.
Why are they trying to troll?
I don't know. I figured it was kind of pointless because I had already expected them to lose the last series. So the small ball is great, and I've seen a lot of things about them running it back. I mean, I'm seeing things about
they're not running it back.
Trading Westbrook, trading Harden, trading everyone. They have no money. We need a new coach now. It's a lot. I was going to use Mike D'Antoni as a final thought, but forget it. Mike D'Antoni's out. He told him on the plane, like, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore," which is kind of crazy. I guess he wanted to make sure he got a ride home first. It's like, hey guys, just wanted to get on the plane first, but I'm not doing this anymore.
It's like, hey, Mike, you wanna say something to the team? Team, we had ourselves a great year. We tried a small ball lineup and it turned out pretty good. We won one game against the Lakers, so we could be a little bit proud of that. But so guys, I haven't been entirely honest. So I really just wanted to get on the plane so I can get back to Houston so I can get my ride back home. So
guys, I mean, I won 227 games. I can't do this anymore. Because he's tried so many different things, and I don't know what hand he played in some of the roster moves. If it was all Daryl Morey, if it wasn't, but I expect whoever they bring in next,
we will find out.
Which is why I'm thinking that they're going to bring in somebody who's, going to be, I would assume, almost a yes man. But, we're hearing a lot of rumors, Van Gundy's, Ty Lue, Sam Cassell. So a lot of people who are highly respected around.
Isn't Nick McMillan part of that list too?
Who?
Nate McMillan?
I did not see that. I don't think I would want Nate McMillan because he's not really that great of getting out of the playoffs himself. But obviously, whoever comes in,
I would
and
love to see Sam I am.
I think Sam could get it done. Obviously, he knows championship basketball.
Yeah, he has 3.
But honestly, I feel like the Rockets, and this is going to be another final thought, but I'm about to throw it on the table right now. The Rockets need to, and I've been saying this probably for the last 10 years, and he might not have been there for 10 years, but I feel like he's been there for 10 years. I don't know how many coaches he's going to get, but eventually you got to stop blaming the coaches and got to start blaming Daryl Morey.
Yep.
I think it's time for him to be relieved of his analytical duties.
I don't think it was 10 years, but
it's not. It's been about 7 probably.
But I can definitely see them moving on from him soon. It's kind of like the whole Moneyball. It's just pretty much what he's been doing. So, it worked for the regular season, but it's like we keep saying before, regular season means nothing, folks. It's really the playoffs is where it all matters. It's always the playoffs.
I mean, like I said, I think that, it's just one of those things. Yeah, it's been 8 years. I just feel like it's time, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. We've made it to the playoffs.
And a conference finals.
And a conference finals, so many times. And we made it to go back to McHale. We made it to the playoffs, the conference finals, and it's like we're right there, but this isn't the team to run it back with.
No, this team needs to get blown up for the offseason. I will say that right now. They need to be blown up.
But I don't know how you would even blow it up. I mean, it's kind of rough because of how much money is invested in 2 players. Don't get me wrong, I love what James Harden brings. I like Westbrook. I probably would have ran it back with CP3. Obviously, if it's not for the hamstring, we're all good.
Yeah, I feel like people was talking about the tension between him and Harden way too much.
It was too early. And then I think when they got rid of Capella,
that was definitely the beginning. In my opinion.
Don't get me wrong. I love some of the people they picked up. I've always wanted Robert Covington on the team. I'm really happy with what Jeff Green brings. I think it's time to let Eric Gordon go. I love what PJ Tucker brings, but let's just be honest, he is no center. That's disrespectful to me and this basketball business.
I think the problem was the league was transitioning towards a much more smaller center.
Sure.
But
6'9", at least 6'9".
Yeah, 6'8". that was taken a little too far.
We're talking about 6'5". I mean, the guy's 6'5". So, to me, it's just like, okay, we need to kind of move on from this and go from there. But obviously, it's over, and I guess before we go, I guess we could talk quickly about Daniel House bringing the young lady into his hotel room, which I didn't know. What makes it bad to me is that he's married.
Yeah, that was the first part that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
that was the first part that people really glossed over.
They glossed over that, and I was like, okay, he's married, so that's the big issue. The problem that the thing that I was okay with is that obviously if he was single, is that this is somebody that's already in the hotel. So I was like, you know what, go, play on, player. I mean, shout out to you. This is obviously somebody who is testing for COVID. So I would hope that a person testing for COVID wouldn't have COVID. It would just make sense.
I mean, it would be the most logical thing.
Yes. So I was like, you know what? I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. But then he's married though.
And that was the part that, and I'm really ashamed of the media for how much they really wanted to talk all this TMZ crap that they didn't even mention that at all. Ridiculous,
mention that.
actually.
I didn't hear that for about 3 days. I think it was somebody randomly on my Facebook. But I mean, we'll see what happens with him. We'll see. But you got any predictions for today's Heat Celtics game?
I got the Celtics winning tonight.
Yeah, you're right. I think the Celtics are going to win. I think they have too much firepower. I think they're going to figure out a way to slow down not just Jimmy Butler, but Goran Dragic as well.
I think so, too.
But that is it. That's all I got for NBA. You got anything else, sir?
Knicks, you suck. Get better.
Oh, wow. That's really terrible. Well, with that, let's take a quick break here. Let's come back with a 2-minute drill. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of every show, we like to do what's called the 2-minute drill, where we go over stories and headlines that we didn't get a chance to cover during the show. My first one here, LSU wide receiver Jamar Chase has officially declared for the 2021 NFL Draft. Prof?
And Tom Brady has helped one lucky person win $40,000 on his first touchdown scored on Sunday. Back to you, Doc.
Billionaire investor Steve Cohen has reached a deal to buy the New York Mets on Monday for $242 billion, reportedly. Prof?
And we're going to give a big shout out to Naomi Osaka for winning her second U.S. Open this past week. Keep it up.
And lastly here, Las Vegas Aces center Asia Wilson is awarded the Player of the Year by the Associated Press. Definitely congrats to her. She's had a great season, as well as another successful season for the WNBA. That is all we have for today. Shout out to Marvin Williams retiring, and we'll be back next week with more Debate Amongst Friends.
Oh my God.
Thank you for listening to Debate Amongst Friends. Give us a follow on our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can also listen to all of our Debate Amongst Friends podcasts here on Anchor, as well as Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes.
And like we always say, goodbye, mwah, and to all, a good night. LASG.
Peace to the ocean.
Yay!